Okay, so I welcome you again. And today we have a big session and I need to discuss three, but two very important things with you. The first is the track itself, which is called Finance and Corporate Governance. And that carries 5 ECTS, of course. This track are we echoing? Maybe you can stop the, yeah. So, no, we are having echo.
I'm working on mute my mic.
Mute, did you?
Yeah.
The volume? You can also take away the volume. Yeah, okay, good. So, yeah. Yeah, so this academic track is primarily meant for those students who will be writing their thesis in the field of finance and corporate governance. No pressures, no pressures. As I said before that I really push my students, but I only push those people who want to be pushed. So I always ask my students in the beginning that, hey, you want to write the thesis or a thesis? And if they want to say that, no, we want to write the thesis, then I really behave. But those who write a thesis, it's fine because we are having different priorities in life. We have different time schedule and we have different objectives. So no pressures at all. Don't feel that I'm putting any added pressure on you. We have two types of students here now. Primarily this track is meant for those people who will be doing research in finance and corporate governance. At some stage, I'll explain to you that they are not same. Finance and corporate governance are two different things. But yes, it's a combined track. But those people who are having, for example, you people, the exchange students, I don't want to refuse you. I want to include you in this track because in this track, you will learn how to do research in the future. Maybe during your degree or maybe when you do masters, you will be doing research, of course. So then this track you learn will help you, okay? But of course, you people are my more focused audience. The second thing which I will discuss with you is that we have a project called Project Consolidation. And that carries 5 ECTS as well. I had the liberty of adding you in this project yesterday. And I tell you why. And then I hope that you guys are also studying financial management or at least have studied in the past. It's my, yeah. No, it's fine. That's equally good. But I think if you do financial management course, if not now, sorry, you can do both, of course. That's really good. Yeah. You can show up, and I will when we have a break, let me know. I will add your name straight away. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Financial management. Which carries again 5 ECTS. And of course, we have Global Financial Management, which is fully online course. Global Financial Management, which also takes 5 ECTS. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 is equal to 20 ECTS. I don't consider them as 4 different courses because there's so much interconnected that if you learn one, like for example, you don't have to study 4 times more to get 20 ECTS. If I make a rough estimate, you only have to study double to get 4 times outcome, because they are so much interconnected. For example, in the financial management course, you will study the concepts of finance at the fundamental level. not high flyer. Whereas in the finance and corporate governance track, you will learn almost same concepts, but little bit at second floor, at level 2. And then when you learn level 1 and level 2, basically same thing, you want to have the proof of pudding, which is in eating. Where do you apply those ideas? That you apply here. Project consolidation. Every concept you study in finance lecture, in financial management lecture, or in the academic track lecture is directly applicable on this project, at least for the first 6 lectures, because this project will be over in 6 weeks' time. And what we do basically in this project, I will explain more, that whatever you learn at the basic level here, this global financial management is only meant to improve your calculation skills, nothing more, so that you know how to make those basic calculations in finance. And then the basic concepts you learn here, little bit more advanced concept you learn here. And then all of them you apply to some extent in the project consolidation, and rest you apply in your actual thesis. So that makes a complete bundle or a package of finance, basically. So as I said, that they seem to be 4 different courses, but they are not. They're so much interlinked, right? And you don't have to work 4 times more, maybe 2 times. You work double and you get, you pay double and get 4 times reward. Pay for 2, pay for 2, get 4, basically. This seems like a tagline, marketing tagline, yeah? Yeah, or maybe I'll ask Salman to give me better tagline. Yes. Yeah. So that's the thing, okay? But first of all, I want to ask you, what do you think about this proposal? And I can take a pause. I can now resume. If you look at the finance and corporate governance, first of all, make sure that you all are in the Optima workspace. I'm using Optima this time. This is the last time I'll be using Optima. Next semester, we'll move to Moodle. I have already moved to Moodle for the economics, for the IB year 1. Yeah. Anyways, there is a start here folder, and there is a course description here. And you can see that there are some basic ideas I can actually discuss with you. You'll be exploring some ideas, but the main thing I want to focus is that I have slightly modified the assessment of this track, because I know that I have 2 sets of students with me. One are those who are, this is the daily, weekly schedule. You can see that the topics that we shall discuss during the track. Yeah, so I have done the assessments, the course evaluation for the IB students separately and the exchange students separately, so that you people are not treated unfavorably, okay? So how you will get the grades will be different from how these track students or these IB students will get, basically. So I suggest to you that you go through this document, which is very important. This course description. We shall be studying in this track the nature of the modern companies, the global companies. Where do the financial resources come from? How they plan these resources, how they spend them. What is the role of the top leadership of the companies, especially the board of directors? how do the corporates create the financial portfolio? What are the considerations when they are making a decision to invest or disinvest? And then how much they do the manipulations, because sometimes we believe that. I think in one of the economics lecture, if you guys remember, I mentioned that we whenever there is a corruption, the first phase comes to our mind are the politicians. But there's a lot of corporate corruption which goes unchecked. And how, as a student of finance, how you can raise alarm. No, you don't have to raise any alarm, but how can you notice that, hey, you know what, there is a potential or that this company has done this kind of corruption. So you can know it. And that is also those red flags we shall also study in this track. The course contents are this, and look at here, I wrote clearly, the course contents are split in 2 paragraphs. And the first paragraph is for those course contents which we shall be using for the project consolidation. And I wrote here that these topics are directly related to the consolidation project. So what I will do, I will on purpose discuss those theories in the track. To begin with, the theories which are valid for the consolidation project, which means that you will be studying the same thing twice. So which will be enriching, hopefully, the knowledge. And we shall be doing some basic analysis today at some stage. And please go through these intended learning outcomes as well. The basic objective of this track is that you are able to analyze, you are able to grasp the analytical business skill. In finance, it's very important that you learn how to do the analysis, not just financial analysis, but also the business analysis. And secondly, it's very important that you are in a position to develop your critical thinking. And that's what I think in all my courses, I've been very much in favor of developing critical thinking, especially in economics. When we were studying a year ago, I was inviting you very open-ended discussion so that we can see the same phenomena differently. Okay, so the critical thinking is very much valid. And third thing is that communication skills, because you will be writing some reports and you'll be making presentation. Collaborative skills, because you'll be working in teams. So that collaboration will go on. And of course, the ethical, this is where the point 5 is where the governance comes. If you ask somebody, what do you learn in finance courses? They will say that how to do the wealth maximization. Or some layman would say that how to become rich, how to earn more money, right? But the question is that I don't believe that the end justifies the mean. I believe that you should be having some element of respect, responsibility, and accountability. And that is what we are learning, the ethical part of finance, the sustainable part of finance. That you're not only focusing on getting richer, but you also have some societal, social, community responsibilities as well, which you should be doing, following them. That's where the governance comes. That is where we check what these big boys are doing in the board of directors. Are they doing the things which they have committed, or are they going astray? Are they going off the track? And of course, you will be developing some personal skills. Course assessments you can go through. I don't want to discuss every point here. If you are an IB student, you'll be doing 2 things in nutshell. This is the whole paragraph, but I explain in the nutshell. So I look at you guys, the IB students. There are 2 components to pass the track. 50% comes from the review of literature of 3 articles. So you will see in the Optima, in the study material that I will be, maybe by the end of the day or tomorrow, maybe tomorrow I'll be, because there's so many articles. So I will be adding different articles in Optima, and you guys, the track people, not you, yeah, those were the IB students. They will pick up each of you will pick up information that these are, okay? So at the end of maybe in a week's time, we know who's presenting what. And what you need to do is, you need to do the review of literature of those 3 articles. How to do it, we will discuss in the track. Because the review of literature is the most difficult chapter in the thesis, and most important chapter. Review of literature is the backbone of your thesis, basically. So that's what you do, and that carries 50%. You know what? I'll tell you a secret, even though it's getting recorded. It's a child's play, reviewing 3 articles. Once you know the art, okay? Once you know the art, it's a child's play, believe me. And you guys don't have to make any presentation. No presentation. And then, and by the way, this, you'll be submitting your review of literature assignment in the return box, literature review. There is a return box in Optima, and this should be there 5th of December noon. This assignment should be submitted there. So we got plenty of time, yeah? 50% weight come from this task. All you need to do is read 3 articles, which I would offering you. And if you have some article which you want to review, please feel free. But as long as you tell me that we are doing these articles, okay? Because I really want to see that do those articles which you pick up yourself have some element of quantitative analysis. That's what I'm willing to see, okay? And if it's okay, you can do those as well, no problem. 3, only 3, nothing much. And the 50% of your remaining grades, the IB students, will come from the research proposal. So you will create a tentative thesis topic, maybe the final thesis topic. It depends how fast you progress. You make a presentation here in the class. For this task, there is no Word file needed, just PowerPoint presentation. That's it. You come into the podium, each of you, the IB students, you make a 10 minutes presentation that what are your research topic, why are you interested in it, little bit of literature review, what type of methodology you will be adopting, and what methodology you will be adopting depend largely on the lesson that me and Tuan would be delivering you a bit of how to do all these things. So I don't want to scare you, but I just want to make a layout. I'm a bit cautious what to say, what not to say, because I don't want to say those things which are too premature-ish at this moment, okay? So this is 50%. So 50% is 3 articles literature review, yeah? And 50% is your thesis topic, or I call it actually not even thesis topic, not even research proposal. I call it research skeleton. So it's not, because you'll make so many changes afterwards. I know when I came to Finland to study, to do my PhD, and a couple of days ago, I was looking at that topic which I started in 2010 as a PhD student. What I did has nothing, not even a word common what I promised to do. So we evolve over time, okay? But some basic idea that what are you interested in, very basic idea, which we will improve in the next semester a lot. But if some of you are fast-paced, you already are very dead clear that this is what I'm going to do, it's fine. We can start as early as possible as well. But altogether, you have 50% from 3 article review of literature, 50% for this presentation, and that's it. You guys, the exchange students. You have only one task to do. I will not ask you to make any research proposal. You will be reviewing not 3, but 6 articles. Double article than your friends in the IB will be doing. So you'll be reviewing 6 articles and that's it. And that takes 100% of your total credits, right? You have to make a presentation also, because see here, you are required to make a presentation. They are not required to make presentation of the review of literature, but they will make presentation of the thesis proposal. But you guys will be reviewing those 6 articles and also making individual presentation, okay? And what to review, what not to review is the same as the rules are same, and you will be sending this file by 5th of December, and on 8th of December, you will make a presentation. So, okay. Sorry? It's individual, very individual. The track, the project is something which is a team thing, but otherwise it's individual. I don't want to get you stuck. But of course, you'll be doing a lot of cooperation because some of you guys will be having the similar thesis topics. So you can do the collaboration. The principal method of the learning would be the lecture slides, case studies, spreadsheet, textbooks, research articles. I would be sharing every lecture would be recorded and the video would be shared. Normally I do that. The problem with the Zoom is that if I do the recording on Zoom, it will disappear in 3 weeks time, 3 to 4 weeks time. So what I do, like I have done in the past, that I move my recorded Zoom videos to YouTube, and then I would be sharing the YouTube link with you so that the video stays with you forever. Okay, yeah, so that's what I will be doing. You don't have to buy any book, because if you see the study material, you'll be having lecture slides. I haven't done yet. You'll see the research articles. You will see them tomorrow, and then you pick 3 and you pick 6. Not same. Okay, not same. How do you know they're not same? You need to see the previously. If I were you, and I want to pick my 6th article, before I make a choice, I see the discussion forum and make sure that which are the articles which have been chosen. And hey, can I ask you one thing? Let's not send multiple messages on the discussion forum. Keep with the one thread only, so that people know that which article have been chosen and which are not. Okay, let's say you choose X, Y, and Z article. Z has been taken by somebody else. Then you pick X, Y, and the other, in that way. The study material would be your lecture slides, research articles, spreadsheets, textbooks. You don't have to buy any textbook because I have my PDF textbooks and I have the right to use them. And I have shared 2 textbooks which are the best textbooks in finance. Okay, they are available for you. Brilliant Myers is a very basic book, but at the same time, if you're a Brilliant Meyer or fabulous, have a little bit more spicy food, a little bit more extra text, then DiMarzo's book is really good. Okay, so these 2 textbooks are there. The same textbooks are for financial management, for the academic track, and for the project. So our source of information, but I would still say that if I were you, then first point of contact. And after reading slides, I will see their relevant spreadsheets because I want to connect theory with the reality. And then if I want to get more information, especially from the review of literature, then I would read the articles and the textbook. But the first point of contact should always be the lecture slides. If you're happy with the lecture slides, then everything is happy, everything is good, right? Every time I record a lecture, I would be sharing the link here. Sometime I would be sharing the discussion forum, but I think it's a good idea, Seher, that we, every time we get the recording on YouTube, we put the link here for the track as well as for the project, everything. Yeah. For the project, by the way, you don't have to have a separate meeting. We will be doing the project simultaneously with the track. So there is no extra time investment for you to learn project. Project will go together by default. And so this is basic information about the finance and corporate governance academic track, but I would strongly urge you that please go through the course description minutely. Yeah, I have done discussion today, but I'm not able to discuss every point because it will take us hours and hours and hours. But the nutshell, the crux of this whole track, I have explained to you, but please go through by yourself as well. Our primary mean of communication would be discussion forum. Okay, students who are from IB, they know that this is what we use to communicate each other. But make sure that this is a public platform, so everything is visible to everybody. If you have any individual issues, okay, you can send me or Seher the private message through Optima as well. And if you don't find the link, send us the Outlook email, yeah, the email in the Outlook. I recommend you that every time you send me an email, CC to Seher and Tuan as well, because in case one of us misses your issue, there is one person who doesn't forget you. Okay, so every time you have a matter specific, please CC to us. And our email addresses, my phone number, everything is in the course description document. So you can find everything there basically. All right, so I take a pause now. If you have any question about the academic track, please feel free to ask. I'm resuming the recording now. And now I shall explain you about the project. And once again, I repeat, I'm not overstating. Basically, the track, the project credits are just offered to you in a plate. I mean, for the same activities you'll be doing anyways in the track. But if you do a little bit more formally, you get 5 ECTS as a bonus. So that's why I don't want to push you, but I really encourage you people to do it, because then you can make a nice block of 20 ECTS, or at least 15. Consolidation project. First of all, we once again, to study the consolidation project, we go to the project consolidation document. And the document is that the official name of this project is Business Valuation, Mergers and Acquisitions, basically. Business valuation, and valuation is a very important topic of your academic track. Okay, so business valuation, mergers and acquisition project, but because the name is too big, for the sake of simplicity, we call it project consolidation. And the project is that I'll explain the whole story. Am I recording it actually? Yeah. The story is that there are exactly five teams right now working in Utrecht University of Applied Sciences with my colleague Hans and Franz Bowman, and they are taking care of, they have exactly 5 teams. And we will have exactly 5 matching teams among you. We can't have 6 teams, we can't have 4 teams. We have, the number of team members can go up and down. because they have more students in Utrecht, and we have comparatively lesser number of students. But we will have exactly 5 teams, matching teams, so that one is competing with their one, R2 is competing with their 2, and like so on and so forth. Exactly 5 teams we have. And what we will do, I'm telling you the whole story in a nutshell. We will pick up all of you, one company, Finnish company, Finnair. And the Dutch team, the Netherlands, this Utrecht team will pick up KLM, even though KLM is more French now than Dutch. But still, because it belongs to, there's a national pride, so they pick up KLM. Whatever you learn, all the skills, knowledge you learn in track and in the financial management, you will be applying on this case company, Finnair, which is a Finnish company, and KLM, which let's assume Dutch company. Okay, in different weeks, you will be doing one part of analysis, second week, second part of analysis, so much so that at the end of 6 weeks, you will be analyzing both companies, each of you, not each of you, as a team. As a team, each team in YAMK, your team, including, you can collaborate. There's no distinction between exchange and the IB students now in the project. You can mingle, you can have a joint team. Okay, so basically you'll be YAMK team now. 5 YAMK teams would be, and each of the 5 YAMK team would be analyzing the business and financial analysis of Finnair and KLM. At the end of 6th week, when we have done the whole analysis, we would be either bidding for KLM or KLM would be bidding for Finnair. And that's where there shall be some debate, some discussion. They would be saying that, hey, you know what, you guys, you got such a small Finnair and we have massive KLM, we will buy you. But if you are not interested to sell Finnair, you can say that, or on the contrary, you are even interested to buy KLM, you can say that, hey, look at your performance. What have you been doing in the last 1 year? You have a miserable financial position you have. Look at the stock value of your company and look at the stock value of Finnair. And this, you will not be doing any brick biting. It will not be any street fight. It will be based on all the analysis which you do. If all of you are, if 3 teams, YAMK team, are saying that, you know what, I don't see buying KLM is reasonable. Okay, give the reason why KLM should buy Finnair. And if 2 YAMK teams are saying that, no, I think it's Finnair we should buy KLM, do your arguments based on analysis. And where you learn these analytical tools, you'll be learning in the track. That is why in the beginning, when I was showing you the course description of track, I made course contents in 2 paragraphs. And in the first paragraphs, I only included those course contents which you'll be using directly in the track. Okay, so basically these things you'll be doing week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So these are the questions: whether we merge Finnair, KLM is possible, how we negotiate with them. Okay, little bit of your communication skills come here, that how well you put forward your point. Actually, in this is the 4th year we are having this competition. I call it competition because they are bidding for Finnair and we are bidding for KLM. Okay, and I can assure you that in terms of communication skill, when you argue, they have no match. We are far superior than them. But what is their plus point is that they are the 3rd and 4th year students who are doing their internship in the auditing companies, right? Working for KPMG or these kind of big shots. But that has never been a problem for us. Okay, so don't worry about that. We shall be finishing French. How come French come? Oh, Dutch company, okay. And we shall be doing some kind of analysis. How you'll be assessed. There's a file which I'll show you. The learning objective, the outcome, the project schedule is also in this file. in spreadsheet, which I will show you. The final outcome is that a merger of two companies, one consolidated company, is the end result of the casework. Question is that who will acquire? Ultimately, the end result of this project is that we have to make one company by adding KLM and Finnair. Question is that whether Finnair buys KLM or KLM buys Finnair. And how do you make this decision? This decision would be based on your analysis that you will be doing. Okay. The project will be about 7 weeks, and of course there'll be video conferences and stuff, so we'll be doing it, but anyways, we shall do it later. But what I suggest you to do now is you all have access to Optima, I guess, right? And you can also see, can you see from the student view who are the other members? Can you see all the participants in Optima? Okay, I would be, if you can't see it, because I can see, I have a teacher's view. I thought that maybe in the student view, student can see colleagues in the, I'll be all the track and the project students today. And you guys can follow Seher's thread and make a team. Remember, we have to have 5 teams. The members, the number of members can go up and down, but not too much. I don't want to see 5 students in one team and 2 in the other. Yeah. Could be 3, 4, you know, that difference of 1 or max 2 is possible. But let's have even teams, not very uneven numbers. Yeah. But now you get the idea what the project is about. And this is the, so we start this project basically today. We kickstart today, 8th of September. And this project would be over on 27th of October. That's it. And then after 27th of October, in the track meeting, we shall study more topics which are not concerned about the project, because the project will be over actually. Actually, the project will be over on 20th, because on 27th, you'll be only making a presentation. That's it. Okay. Yeah, so that's something I have to tell you. And what we shall study. First of all, I show you the project schedule in the spreadsheet. I hope you guys can see. If I save it and come here. Online students, can you see the spreadsheet? Can you see it? Yeah? No, they can't see? Let me share it again.
Optima is there now.
Share screen. No, I think I know I can share. I think it has to be done separately. Yeah, I think now they can see, because now
Yes.
yeah. So 8th of September, I have introduced project, but you can see the whole description. Seher, can you do one thing? Can you copy the participants from and upload it in, yeah?
Okay,
so that
I'll do it in the one thread, and they could reply to that.
no. I mean to say that if you go to Optima, participants, list of participants, you can copy and paste in Excel.
Okay.
And then that you can share in Optima, so that students know that who are their colleagues.
Okay.
Because the problem is that as a student, they can't see who are the other people taking part in the track and project. Yeah. So we will be forming the groups today. Please, only one thing I insist, that no delays. If you do the track assignment, track work, and you say, Shab, you know what, I was sick yesterday, or my friends came, or we had a party, and can I get 3 days extension to submit assignment? And you guys know me that I am very flexible, and I would say, no worries, it's okay, fine, we do it. But unfortunately, I will not be so generous in the project, because we have the deadlines, because we have people waiting for us in Netherlands. So right now I tell you that please don't send me any email about extension for the project, because we have to, otherwise the whole schedule would be upside down if I start giving you these extensions. So today, on 8th of September, I have introduced the project already to you. The basic ideas, you can study more in the description. You will be seeing yourself, by the way, in Optima, the track and project are separate. So don't look for the project information in the track, and don't look for the track information in the project. They are the two separate Optima workspaces which you need to access to. Form groups today, Seher is going to download, make a list of all the participants in the track, and she would be sharing soon in the project Optima workspace. And then you guys can, by following discussion forum, can make 5 teams. Remember, we need to make 5 teams, not 6, not 4. The number of students in each team can go a little bit up and down, but not too much. And today, once you make the team, tomorrow, I shall be sending you your colleagues who are in Utrecht. Are you with me? Tomorrow, I'll be sending you, they have made team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4, team 5. Remember, they have labeled it. You also make team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4, team 5. Or at least you send your names. Seher and Tuan will label you team 1, team 2, team 3. And then we send our list to them tomorrow. And then you start interacting with each other directly. So team 1 would interact with team 1 in Utrecht. And team 2 with the team 2, team 3, and likewise. Like what we call as a league. No, is it called league? League kind of matches? When you have the groups and they have their, or something like that, round robin or something, I don't know. There is a way, there's a word we call it, that you have this. Yeah, but nobody will be knocked out, don't worry, yeah? So it's not like a knockout basis thing. All 5 teams will be there till the end of the project. Nobody would be out. Today, I'll be saying something more about the project as well. And then on 15th of September, we shall be doing some company competitive analysis. On 16th of September, and there is a return box. So what you do, folks, what you do today should be there in the return box 1 by 14th of September. And what you study on 15th of September should be there on 21st of September in return box 2. So basically what you learn, you submit in 6 days time. Yeah? And it's nothing much. It doesn't have to be very scientific, very basic discussion. And then if you submit something on 14th of September, then the feedback about your submissions would be given on 16th of September. So we will be doing some, of course, we will not meet on 16th of September. It's not in the schedule, but Tuan and Seher would giving you feedback at how your first assignment has been. So you will be having the weekly feedback, okay? Likewise. So please go through it. And then you will be submitting the last assignment on 26th of October, return box 6. All the return boxes are, by the way, here. So you can see that there is a return box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you see that? So all the return boxes are here. So you know how to upload and where to upload. Don't mix it. That's it. And what we shall be studying. This is the schedule, right? And next thing is that what we will do in the entire project. And that is here, start here, business valuation assignments. So these are your weekly assignments that we shall study together. Of course, I will not leave you alone in this whole thing. I would be helping you every time, online, offline, in the classroom, whatever. So I shall be at your rescue all the time. So don't you worry about that. And moreover, we shall only study those concepts in the track lectures, which will help you the project. many times.
Shab, we can't hear you.
Oh my. Why did Irina, can you hear me now? Okay. I hope the recording is not affected. Let's hope.
Yes. It's like
Let's hope.
minutes.
If it is no, I have a way out. If it is lost, then I would sit alone in a room and I would record my instructions. That will take less time actually. So I would be like doing self-recording and sharing it here. Well, no big deal. Okay. Yeah, so find the one website which will be very useful to you to get the basic definition is called Investopedia. Not Wikipedia, but
Yes.
Investopedia is a really useful website. It's very easy. They explain in the most simplest fashion. So write something about as a group. Once you make, so your first job today is that you make the groups by all means. And tomorrow you start writing these things, definition of the airline industry and analysis of the industry, how this industry has been, a bit of history. Remember, I warn you something. As a teacher, I shouldn't say, but I don't expect too much of work in the project from you. Don't work like fanatics in the project, because project is very to the point thing. In thesis, you'll be more explorative, more adventurous, more creative. In the project, you only do those things which are asked to do, and very briefly. So I want to save you from yourself that in the track, when you do the thesis related things, be creative, be explorative. But for the project, do only those things which are required. Don't work too much. Don't work excessively. Only do things which are required. Very briefly. So write a brief history of the airline industry, how the airline industry has evolved over time. Of course, the airline / aviation industry that we have now will not be the same as it used to be in the past. Okay, so how things have evolved over time. The history of industry, basic ratio analysis we shall do today. What trends are you observing? Some changes, you see it. I'll do it for you today itself. Who are the main players in the aviation industry, in the airline industry, in Europe especially, and what do you think about their market share and what they're doing? So in general, what is a word called snapshot? A snapshot of airline industry. And today, in this week's task, in this assignment 1, look, you are not talking anything basically about KLM and Finnair. You are only making a very basic, my colleague has written 15 to 20 slides. I don't think you will take 15 to 20 slides. Very basic information about the aviation industry, about the airline industry. Okay, and to make it, my colleague recommended that you can use Porter's model and pastel analysis. And what is Porter's model in the simplest possible word, and what is pastel analysis in the simplest possible words? I have actually I have shared with you here in the study material. In the research articles, I have added what exactly is meant by Porter's 5 forces framework. Okay, and here in this framework, you will be recognizing, for instance, can you see Seher, Optima?
Yes.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what you'll be doing basically. Once you Google airline industry and you find out that who are the main users of airline industry. Who uses airlines? Who do you think? Huh? We travel, yeah? And the travelers are the individual consumers or the corporate consumers. So it's more like a B2C, but it's also B2B. Transportation, it's a B2B also. The many, if you see DHL, they have their own flights. So basically it's business to business kind of thing. Okay, who are the buyers? What are the possible substitutes of airline services? For example, buses, Yeah. Now, for example, look now because now if I give you a hint, because of COVID, I don't think there is any flight from Uvascula anymore to anywhere. This airport is standstill. And there were many people who would travel in the domestic travel to Helsinki or Vasa or elsewhere. What are they using now? Trains, buses. And if you notice, train tickets and the buses tickets, they are getting more competitive and they become cheaper now. There was a time, I tell you something, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, if I go to Helsinki by train ticket used to cost nothing less than 60 euros. I used to be lucky if I would get for 45 or something. And now they're much cheaper. You know why? Because the competition I've seen with my own eyes, the competition has increased tremendously. Thanks to this omnibus. There used to be no difference in the price of this bus which goes to Helsinki or the train. But omnibus has changed the game of this internal domestic travel in Finland. And now you see relatively cheaper train tickets as well. I don't pay anymore 60 euros to go to Helsinki, but I used to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can even have cheaper, by the way. Yeah, even cheaper than, I think it's 13 euro. I've traveled many times, 13.30. Yeah, it depends like how. So the rule are changing because the substitutes are increasing. And now after, when this COVID thing will be over, many people would be used to of traveling in the buses and the trains. And then they will not be paying high price to the airline companies. Once things get over, I don't think the airline company would be able to charge the same premium they used to before COVID-19, because this, and you can also bring some COVID-19 discussion angle in your discussion as well, that how the airline industry is now getting so much. Airline industry is one of the worst affected industries in this COVID-19 situation, one of the most unfavorably affected industry. Okay, suppliers. So you can make this kind of network according to Michael Porter's model. Michael Porter is a great, researcher, economist. I happened to meet him last December when I was in Boston in MIT. He's a professor in MIT, and every year he organizes these meetings of researchers all over the world. This year I will not be able to go because it's the whole thing, but online I'll be following it. What a wonderful personality. Old, but very young looking man. And when he speaks, he can give a 3-hour lecture without any interruption and nobody feel bored. I mean, people just love to listen to him. Wonderful personality. He's one of those researchers who have really impressed me, right? That I really want to learn something from him. And then there is a pastel research technique, which is very easy, because here, pastel means which are the political risks to the airline industry. One political risk to the airline industry has always been that oil come from the Gulf countries, West Asia. And West Asia is always war-torn area. When I was a child, it was Iran, Iraq, and then Kuwait. When I became young, this Kuwait thing came up, and now it's Saudi Arabia versus Turkey and all other parts. So there is a whole mess in the Gulf countries. They're rich, but at the same time, they're politically very, very unstable countries. Jordan, and then came this ISIS, and they have this. So a lot of things have happened. Okay, so the political risk is always there. And same way, another source of oil is South America, Venezuela, which is always featuring in the media for the wrong reasons. Do you get my point? So political risk has always been in the airline industry, because the major input for the airline industry is the fuel, which come from certain countries which have been very, very politically unstable. And then economic risk. Economic risk is that the oil prices have been fluctuating so much. I have seen in 1 month, not now, but 3 years ago, the oil price in 1 month's time touching $25 a barrel to $135 a barrel. And if you are an airline company which lives on oil, how would you adjust it? Goodness gracious me, can you change your airline ticket 6 times more expensive because the oil jumped from 25 to 135? So how do you survive? Social, what are the social? Now, for example, the best example is COVID now. That the big social factor is that people are having social distancing. And even if the airlines are running, like my daughter who did her IB this year and she was doing her exchange in Utrecht University, where same university where we're having this project with. And she traveled and she said that they were made to have a distance. So in one row, only one person was sitting. It means that the company, I don't know whether it was Finnair or KLM, I forgot. So on purpose, they're only taking 1/3 of passengers. So they have no option because people want social distancing. You can't really pack people, right? Technological factor will be very important. So there's a fast technological changes, and especially when you move from this fossil fuel to the clean energy, are airline companies compatible to these non-conventional energies? Or will they still be using the traditional oil for the future also? Or if they keep using the traditional oil, are the engines, all those, are those technological, those components, are they getting more fuel efficient, that they are having less carbon emission? Have you seen that when you book the flights, you pay the ticket, but you also pay the carbon tax, which sometimes the price is more than the ticket price. If you see your old bookings, when you have the booked flights, look at the breakup of the total price you pay. There will be a big sum of carbon price as well. Maybe I'll show you one day, because I used to travel a lot before this whole thing. So there's always a carbon price. Right? You pay for the legal thing as well. Is airline industry any legal threat? When the flight is delayed, have you heard about the compensation? Yeah. So that they can be sued. I think the airline industry is one of those industries which is so much exposed to litigation. People can sue. Your baggage can be lost. The baggage can be damaged. I have been victim many times. The baggage can be lost. It could be destroyed. Especially when you are having 2 or 3 different flights. If you travel to South America, for example, you have to change at least 3 flights. And in the process, it's quite possible that you are losing your luggage and some other things as well. I mean, it could be that people sue for any reasons. And then there are environmental risk as well. What's the name of this young girl in Sweden? Yeah, so she's quite proactive in terms of environmental, which is good thing. Yeah, so the airline industry is one of the, once again, the biggest victims or the biggest target of the or accused of damaging the ecology as well. So those kind of, you can make a list of these, but this is only a recommendation that you do. Once again, I want to save you from this too much of extra work, because in the project you just need to do very basic things, not excessive things. So don't end up doing too much of work. Okay. So we take a short break of maybe 10 minutes, and when you guys come, I would like to discuss with you some some of the trends, some of the basic ratios, some of the financial snapshots of the airline industry, Finnair and KLM. When you come from these two industries, you can make some kind of picture. Yes. Uh-huh.
Where do we post our news? We have already made one.
Sept, can you also have the same message in the discussion forum of the project? That, hey, this is the list of the students, form the groups and inform us with the same thread.
I can make, but I want to ask that Untitled Chapter supervisor.
Okay, so now we are resuming our recording, and we shall be doing some work regarding the fundamental ratio analysis. And I also share some of my secrets with you that stop share and then share, new share. Yeah. Yeah, now I think people in Optima can also see the screen which I'm sharing now. One of my favorite website which I use to see the market's trends and how things are developing in the stock market is investing.com. Investing.com is a very good source of information. You can get historical prices. You can have basically the whole detail of any company in the world as long as it is listed. So when I type in, for example, maybe actually I do the way, for example, when I type in Finnair here, you can check the code, Finnair. You can see the Finnair listed in Helsinki, and then this European Stock Exchange, then Munich, Stuttgart, Berlin. Make sure that choose the right stock exchange. I would like to see Helsinki, the Finnair stock prices in the Helsinki Stock Exchange. So choose the right stock exchange. One company can be listed in multiple stock exchanges. Okay, so pick up Finnair, which is in the right stock exchange, and the right stock exchange or the more appropriate stock exchange is the Helsinki Stock Exchange. So I click, and then this is the Finnair data in the Helsinki Stock Exchange. And here you can see some basic charts. They have a radio, but we don't need it. They have a basic chart. And here you can see that the Finnair stock price has been going up and down in one day. But one day is not a very big time to make a company's analysis. If you want to see the stock price of a company, are you also doing the same thing? Okay. If you want to see the stock price of a company, then I personally, I'm not a very short-term analyst. I'm more a medium to long-term analyst. So for me, if you want to really analyze a company's stock price, for me, a year or more is the minimum time when I want to observe how the company has been behaving, because otherwise it could be some random thing which may not be true. So what I do, I click 1 year. You can see there is a possibility that you can pick up 5 minutes, 15 minutes, my gosh, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 5 hours. No. This is for speculators. This is more for people who do this kind of gambling thing. I'm not a gambler, I'm an investor. So what I do, I go to 1 year window, which is here. And when I click 1 year, then I see that this is how Finnair has been doing. So for example, one argument, when you see this graph, the one argument your colleagues in Netherlands can make to buy Finnair is that, hey, how do you think you will buy us? I'm giving their point of view, that look at your stock price. You're losing market value. So forget about buying KLM before your stock price goes so down that you become out of the market. We are willing to buy you. Have your grace. We can give you a graceful exit. So this is the one argument which Finnair, which KLM people, the Dutch team can use against you. But then you can say that, hey, you know what? Don't think, we're not fools. We know that 1 year has not been very good, last 1 year. First of all, because of our internal matters, and then came COVID. And then in January, in February, things became already. So for the last 7-8 months, we know we are not doing good. But for example, look at July. We, even in the middle of COVID, our stock price was going up. Look at this, May 2020. Can you see here, May 2020? Notice this thing. So you can give the counter argument that, hey, we know that we lost price. The price fell a lot from May 1, but look at in July. There was COVID still in July, but we made a bounce back. So we are capable of bouncing back. So don't write us off. We can come back. And this low stock price is only a temporary phase, because if you look at our performance in the last 5 years, when you click 5 years, we have been behaving quite well. We've been doing a good job in the last 5 years. And in fact, we were not doing so good. Look at our performance since 2017. So if you look at this, there's a counter argument. This, you know what, in this project, you will be having this kind of arguments and counter arguments. I'm doing this role play because if I belong to Dutch team, I would say that your stock price is going down, and you said no, the stock price is going down only for the last few months. Otherwise, Finnair stock price has been quite well. It's been doing well. Okay. And then you can see some charts as well. I told you that you also try to write down something about the news, the history of, and there is a news and analysis also section in this investing.com, that what has been the news. Well, some are the good news, some are the bad news. So these points can help you to write down some of the sentences about the company and the industry. Yeah. There are financial summaries as well. Okay. So for example, gross margin of Finnair is 37.27%. Operating margin is negative. Net profit is down. So basically, when you look at Finnair accounting performance, it's not been so good for the last few years. I would be sharing one of my YouTube video about ratio analysis. And I think you should have a look at it. It's from the last year, not last year, but the last semester, the ratio analysis. And that will really help you to understand how you understand the ratios and how you make interpretations. Well, you've done this job, haven't you? Haven't you done this management accounting assignments? You've done that. So it's basically the same thing. Basically the same thing. I forgot for a second that you are not the same students. So those videos should be in the discussion forum of management accounting. But if you don't have access to management accounting workspace in Optima, then I can send this link once again to you. Or if you just go to YouTube, you will find all the videos which I have about this. Yeah. So the gross profit margin, the net profit margin, and the operating profit. Can I ask you, what do you think is the difference between gross profit So what is the difference between the gross profit, net profit, and operating profit? But first of all, please tell me, I know it's very childish question. What is the definition of profit? How do you define profit? Yes?
It's the whole revenue of the company, all the money.
That's revenue? That's profit?
Yeah. Well, I understood the question.
Yeah.
Profit is something that you sell a product after you pay all the cost of production, the workers, the lifetime is your profit.
Exactly. So profit is equal to the revenue minus cost. So the revenue, if for example, you sell these remotes, and you sell each of this remote control for 50 euros, and the cost of this making this remote or buying it from the other country is 30 euros, then your profit is equal to 50 minus 30, 20 euros, right? So when you have the total revenue minus total cost, what you get is the profit. Question is, what is gross profit? Can I ask you, how do you split, how can you make the categories of your cost? Sorry? Well, you can call it charges, I can call it cost. There are three types of cost. One type of cost is the cost of production and selling. When I make this marker, I use plastic, I use chemicals, I use some rubber, I use some other things. The whole cost. And then what I do, I deliver these markers to the different supply points. For example, to Lidl, if they sell it, or some stationery shop, or we export them, we pay for the transportation. So everything which is used, which is spent to manufacture and supply this marker, when that cost is subtracted from the total revenue, it's called gross profit. Let's say the price of this marker is 5 euros. And let's say the company which makes this marker has sold 1 million markers in a year at the price of 5 euros. So it means the quantity is 1 million, 6 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the total revenue will be equal to the total output sold times the price. So if I multiply, so if I use abbreviations PQ, then total revenue is equal to P multiplied by Q, which means it will be euro 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you are selling a marker for 5 euros and you have sold 1 million markers in a year, then your total revenue would be price per unit times multiply the quantity. So 5 times 1 million, which means you have earned 5 million euros revenue, but that's not your saving. Remember, that's the total money coming in. Now, the cost of making this marker and cost of selling it to the shops. Let's say this combined cost is for each marker 1.80. So, and we call it operating cost. Operating cost, which is cost of manufacturing plus selling, is 1.80. So cost of making this marker and cost of selling it to the showrooms is 1.80, right? Now, if you multiply for each unit, sorry, per unit, and total operating cost would be how much? If you multiply the per marker cost 1.80 with 1 million, because you are selling 1 million units, it will be euro 1 point, yeah, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. So our revenue is 5 million euros, and our operating cost, which basically is our cost of production and selling, is 1.80 or 1.8 million euro. And the difference between them will be called operating profit. How much is operating profit now? Can you show? It's 5 million minus 1.8 million. How much? 3.2 million euros. 3.2 million euros. And look at this figure. It's minus. Can you see minus here? Is it minus? Minus 6.07 for the Finnair? Yeah. So this is minus 6.07. It means what? It means that for Finnair, the operating profit is negative. The Finnair's operating profit is negative. And then we have this operating profit. From this operating profit, is it the only cost we have in the company? Just think about it. Is cost of manufacturing, if you are running this company of making marker, is the production cost, transport cost, selling cost, is it the only cost you have? What is the other cost? Don't give me the name of the cost, but the category of cost, broad category. Which could be the next category of costs? Sorry? Okay. But what comes before taxes? Do you pay one more cost? Expenses are, which expenses? One category of expenses is that the companies borrow. If I'm a manufacturer of this marker, I'm very sure I'm not a born billionaire that who doesn't borrow. I borrow some money from the banks. Financial expenses, well said. You borrow from the banks, you even borrow from the individuals. And when you borrow money, what do you pay? Interest. Interest expense, more refinedly, we call it as a finance cost. Let's say the company has borrowed some amount from the banks or whatever resources, and the company is owing some interest, and let's say the total finance cost is 1 million euros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The total finance cost which the company has to pay to its lenders is 1 million. Then 3.2 million was my profit. From this, I pay 1 million as a finance cost. I'm left with how much? Yeah, this much. This is called gross profit. This is called gross profit. Yeah, gross profit, and we have some other names also. It's also called profit before tax or earnings before tax. Okay, and when I say before tax, it means I'm yet to pay tax. And let's imagine that the company is going to pay tax. The tax is another 1.2 million euros. Then after we pay tax, we are left with net profit, which is equal to how much? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 million. 1 million. So this is the net profit. Can you see? I'm sorry, maybe you can't see it, but it's gross profit minus tax. It's 1 million euros. Now, so now you see the whole journey. That first of all, we have the total revenue, then we have the operating profit. From operating profit, we get the gross profit. From the gross profit, we get the net profit. Operating profit is only calculated when you subtract the operating cost. And the operating costs are manufacturing cost and the selling cost. And from those costs, you are left with operating profit. In this case, it's positive. But if you look at Finnair, it's minus 6.07, which means it's negative. Finnair's operating profit is negative. It means that Finnair's operating costs are more than the revenue it earns. Finnair's operating cost is more than the revenue it earns. Can I ask you, what could be the Finnair's operating cost? Sorry? Say a bit louder. The oil, the fuel. Yes, the fuel is the biggest operating cost. The fuel is the biggest operating cost because after all, unless you have the oil, the flights will be grounded. I mean, you will never fly. So you need the oil. What else is the Finnair's operating cost? Sorry? Fantastic. Salaries. You pay to the pilots, to the stewards, to the air hostesses. And not only that, you have so many ground duty officers who are taking care of safety, security, monitoring, right? What else could be? Maintenance is huge. Safety. Sorry? Well, that is not an expense. That's a capital investment. Yeah, yeah.
Investing in the airport.
I will not call it investing, but you pay the fee, the taxing fee. You have those, what is the word called, where you keep the airplanes? Hangar, yeah, hangar. So you pay rent for those hangars where you park your flights, your airplanes, yeah, and it's a big amount of money. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Well, it depends upon, I don't know whether it's applying to all the airline companies, but I know for sure that some airline companies are taking it more seriously and some are not. So there is a gray area. What else could be operating cost of Finnair, for example? Well, they pay environmental tax, not tax, but they are using some equipment in the system so that the flights are more environmental friendly. Yeah. Some parts of research and development you can also, yeah. Research and development is very difficult item. Some research and development expenditure you make big amount and you treat it as an asset, so it goes to the balance sheet. But some small amount you can use it as expense as well. Yeah, so and some similar expenses. Of course, Finnair buys food also from these catering companies, which is served to the passengers on board. That is also expense, and it's an operating expense, by the way, because if you don't serve food, people will not fly, and the company will not be able to operate. Look at the word operating. That tells everything, and anything and everything that helps Finnair to operate is an operating expense. And that expense is so much so that it's more than Finnair's revenue. So that the operating profit is negative. But if you notice here, it's very important to notice that even though the first phase of Finnair's profit is negative, the gross profit is positive. How is it possible that your operating profit is negative, but your gross profit is positive? Huh? Can it be possible? Is it possible that a company's operating profit is negative, but the gross profit is positive? But what is dividing line between operating profit and gross profit? What is the dividing line? What is the cutoff between finance cost? The only way this thing can be positive, the gross profit can be positive, if the finance cost is more positive than the negative operating cost. But the question is, if the finance cost is a cost, then how can it be positive? How can interest be, how can be a payment positive? That's only possible that if somebody pays you back. Yes. But then it should be here in the tax. I can see tax you pay, subsidy you get. But what about here?
Financial income.
Financial income. Maybe Finnair has lots of money deposited with the bank, and the interest they get from Nordea or other banks is more than the interest they pay on their borrowing, so much so that it's exceeding their operating profit. Do you get my point? You have to speculate. It means that in this whole bad thing, in this entire bad scenario, one good thing about Finnair is emerging, that Finnair has quite decent deposits with the bank. So Finnair has a good cash position. If there is any emergency for Finnair to make payments, then Finnair has lots of cash to pay. And this is a very good point, because many companies have huge profits, but they don't have cash. Because profit and cash are not two things, it's not same things, they're two different things. Do you get my point? So the one good thing, one silver lining in the cloud is that despite bad operating performance of Finnair, they have good cash base. They are very liquid company. Yes. Making more what?
I don't know what I think they increased the,
Sell more shares?
I guess so. There was something.
You can break the share, or you can have the fresh equity. Yeah. No. Because we only talk, when I talk about the finance cost, it's only about the interest you pay. Yeah, and then you have the gross profit, and from there you have taxes you pay. You know what? The Finnair's operating profit and net profit, the company's gross profit is positive, but the company's net profit is negative, because the company is paying a lot of taxes. So basically, if I want to make a picture, I'm just making this hypothetical picture that let's assume that Finnair's operating profit is -10. Yeah. And Finnair's deposit with the bank are giving more cash to Finnair. And the Finnair is getting, let's say, 12 euros. So let's say Finnair is getting 22 euros as interest from the bank, and Finnair is giving 10 euros as interest to the bank. So net interest which Finnair gets is 12. Can you make it? Interest you get, interest you pay. Net interest is 12. This 12 is more than the operating loss. And this is why the gross profit is positive. But from the gross profit, what do you pay? Taxes. And taxes are -5, let's say. So that the net profit is -3. This is what happening to the Finnair. That companies' operations are bad, negative, but company's cash position is strong, and that is bringing more interest. But taxman, Vero, is not giving any mercy to Finnair, and it is charging taxes from it, so that whatever is improvement here loses after paying taxes. So this is what happening to Finnair basically. I want to ask you a question. Finnair is not a bank. Finnair is a company, non-financial company. Every company, if you want to see the success of this company, which profit is more important? I know profit is a profit. Operating profit, gross profit, net profit. If you only want to focus on the company's future, which profit gives you better indicator, and why? Which profit do you think is a better? Sorry? Exactly, operating, because after all the company is going to operate. So even though you are getting some compensation from banks and stuff like that, or taxman can be generous for you if you have chronicle losses, Taxman can give you subsidy, the word you used, right? The opposite of tax. Tax I pay to state, subsidy I get from state. Okay, but I can't sustain forever. Can I sustain forever on subsidy? No. Ultimately, sooner or later, I have to improve my performance. When I use the word performance, I'm talking about companies' operations. I have to become more efficient in my performance in terms of my operations. So if you want to see the financial sustainability of a company, then don't, well, gross profit, net profit, they're fine, but you have to think a step ahead of a layman. For a layman, net profit is fine, gross profit is fine, but you being the student of finance, for you, it's fine, a profit is a profit, but out of all the three profits, most important profit is operating profit, which FinAir is having negative. Now, can we see what our competing company called, what's his name? KLM is doing. Let's check KLM. KLM listed where? In Amsterdam, of course. Well, Paris, because I said before that now KLM, Frankfurt. Why is KLM not showing in Paris? Oh, because it's part of Air France now. If you see, even when you hear the announcements at the airport, they say KLM Air France these days, because now it's a part of Air France. So if I go to Paris, CAC index, then I find that look, their situation is even worse than their situation is even worse than FinAir. Sometimes you have to choose between good and better, and sometimes you have to choose between bad and worse. Right? Look at their gross profit is very good. Look, the gross profit is very good. But if you look at their operating profit, it's horrible. So it means that those people who will be bidding for those your I won't say rivals, but your competitors, those who will be bidding for FinAir, you can shut their mouth when they were talking about poor operating profit of FinAir. You can give them a counter argument that look at yourself, look who's talking, look at your operating profit. Look at your operating profit. And you can, now you know what operating profit and all these profits are. You can also see the stock price of KLM. And you can see that KLM's share prices, I never say 1 day or 1 week, that's not a good indicator. I would rather go to 1 year to 5 years to see the stock price. And you can see that, look at that. I don't think FinAir is doing worse than KLM. Look at the stock prices. At least FinAir, if you notice FinAir stock in May, in July this year, despite COVID, went up. So there was a big spike. They haven't had any spike. They have constantly going down. Yeah? Sorry? Well, I would say that they look at this way. March, it's you can see the date. The highest peak is this, and this is 18th of February 2020. If you notice, February is a month when the effect was not seen on the stock markets. I think it was end of February when people start talking about the COVID. Honestly, I was in February, I was in Paris and nobody knew what COVID is. There was some news I knew that, hey, some people, there's some casualties in Italy, but people are saying that, hey, it's some infection. It's a city. based problem, it will be over. And some things were noticeable in China. But honestly speaking, nobody in February, I was moving freely, no worries, all good. But when I was in the third week, I was back here in Finland. That was a time when my colleague Steve and some other people started, hey, Shab, you, and I was, oh, well, things go wrong and it will be fine soon. So if you see 18th of February is the date when KLM observed this peak. And since then, so let's say that 18th of February is the date when COVID became more, let's assume. Then since then, the prices have never came back to the normal. There have been some minor upswings, but they were too minor. So basically, all the way, the graph of KLM since 18th of February this year is downwards with some minor, I won't call it spikes, but some minor exceptions. But if you look at KLM, if you look at Finnair, there has been, the whole month of July has been very good. And even after July, it went pretty well. So basically, if you compare market performance of Finnair and KLM, both have done bad, but Finnair is less worse than KLM. And if you look at the accounting profit, like this gross profit margins and the other things, even in that case, both companies are having negative, but I would say that Finnair is less negative. As I said before, sometimes you have to make a choice between less worse, right? So that way, so this is the very, today I'm not doing any calculation, but I just want you to have some idea, some thoughts about it. And that's end of everything for today, okay? I will see if there is any problem with the recording. If there is, then I would re-record the instructions and share with you, yeah? But as I said, don't get frightened. It's the first day, and I have to say a lot of things to you, okay? I would never discuss this topic today, which I discussed, if it was not the project. But because it's a project, we have to meet the deadline next week. That's why I'm doing it. I'm feeling a bit guilty in my conscience. I would never discuss on the first day these technicalities. All right? If you, those who want to add your names to some questions, please report to Seher. She's.
Is the project mandatory for the IB students? I think it is.
Say again?